Pacific Drums and Percussion presents Get It Started with Daru Jones and Daru's special guest, 𝗚𝗓𝗏 and Will Calhoun. And now, live from TM Productions in Nashville, let's get it started.
Malik, my brother.
Thanks, bro.
Word.
Appreciate you.
Shout out to my brother Malik on the dance moves. Let me get situated. Greetings, y'all. So get it started. Today is the season finale. I'm excited. We had a good run, you know what I'm saying? I think we started the first episode in last September, and all good things come to an end. We're outdoors now, so we're gonna take a pause, but definitely want to shout out the place that I'm at today, TM. Y'all can see behind me, and it's a really cool dance studios. They just opened, and I'll give y'all more details on it on another post. But I want to give a special shout out to Brother Ben and his girlfriend. I forgot her name, but she's here. What's her name? Tasha. Yeah, this is beautiful facilities, and it's a really cool vibe. Like the space that I'm in right now, it's like you can do videos and all kind of things. But I'm glad to be here. I want to talk about the gear I'm using today. I'm using my signature drums with PDP. It's called a DJNY, Daru Jones New Yorker. It's available now. I'm also using these custom big fat snare drum muffles. You know what I'm saying? They basically tone down the drum sound. I'm gonna hit it so you guys can get a little example. So yeah, so the intro beat that I was playing basically is from my guest that we got today. I'm so excited about our guest, Uncle Doug 𝗚𝗓𝗏, and Will Calhoun from Living Color. They're actually on tour right now. and this is good for the topic that we're doing today. And the track that I was playing, I was trying to play Will's pattern from Sunshine of My Heart. Is that right? Sunshine of My Life? One of those, but it's one of my favorite songs from Living Color. And yeah, I couldn't do it like Will, but hopefully, I didn't abuse it too much, but I tried to play the rhythm. One of my favorite tracks. And yeah, I'm very excited for our guest today to just continue on with the gear that I'm using. LP, live percussion artist. And just to go back to these bits, the big fat snare drum, for that particular song, because I was playing like more of a rock style, I didn't want like a hollow piccolo sound. So I basically put this on to kind of muffle it down. So this is without the muffles on it. So it's a hollow sound. So now it's a rock and roll snare drum. So it worked perfect for that, for the rhythms that I was just playing. These snare drums are LP salsa drums. They just came out, and shout out to the LP family, Jerry, from sending me the goods, and I love them. Kind of got like a reggae tone, and yeah, I didn't really use it much, but yeah, these are some new additions to my kit. Thirdly, I'm using 𝗘𝗧 𝗜𝗧. I have a collaboration with them called the PST X DJs 45s, like vinyl. Everything is size 12. As y'all can see, this one looks like a vinyl record, and these are available right now too. I'm using the Dark Crash 𝗘𝗧 on this side. Also, these cool bits. Take it off so y'all can see it. Yeah, so these are the Pure Bells. I got two, size 8, and I think that one is a 10. Also, live percussionists came out with these really cool tambour rings, kind of make all your drums sound like tambourines wherever you place it. Using that. And the hair drumsticks. I'm a hair drumsticks artist, and this is my signature stick. It's kind of beat up right now. I've been using it, but these are made out of aluminum, and I was told that these last 5 times longer than a wood stick. So yeah, you can play rock and roll, you can play at church, and you won't break these. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Oh, in front is my Solomon, my sub microphone by a company called Solomon Mics. And it's pretty much for all the low end frequency, and it works great for the kick drum, because the kick drum is an 18, and you're not losing no bottom. It's going to give you the extra low end. Depends on what you're playing, but yeah, I love it. It works for my tuning, and you can actually use your microphone for any low end frequency. It can be also a bass guitar or your toms, whatever has a low end frequency. So yeah, that's what I'm using today, and that's my signature model. It's called the Neo Black, and it's pretty much inspired. The rap was inspired by The Matrix, the movie The Matrix. When they had on those black suits. So you can't really see the detail of it right now, but that's what it's called, the Neo Black, and that's available as well. And yep. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, for the Get It Started series, and I want to thank the DW and PDP family for allowing me, to put this together during the pandemic. As y'all see that things are opening back up now, and also want to give special thanks to my co-host Jules. Y'all can't see her, but I can hear her. I can see her sometimes, but yeah, she's we've done this together, and Jules is responsible for preparing the layout and everything. So what y'all seeing, this is all Jules, all the lettering and everything. So I want to give a special thanks to Jules to help me my co-host for the show. And like I said, I want to thank the DW and PDP family for allowing me to come on here, and hopefully the shows are, you guys are able to get some help, during the pandemic. I know some of us had to get locked down. We were indoors. We couldn't get out, but now things are opening up. So let's get back to it safely. So I want to talk about the topic before I bring my first guest on. Can you put that on the screen, Jules? So the name of the topic is, how do I navigate the biz post-pandemic? So as I spoke, a lot of us depending on what your job is or was during the pandemic time, we were stuck indoors trying to figure it out. And as musicians, basically our livelihood was taken away, because a lot of us, we play in front of our audience. We perform outside of studio work, And so that was all taken away. I mean, some people may have performed. Eventually, they started figuring out ways to do, the live stream performances, which was great. It was great, but for the most part, we had to figure things out how to suffice and maintain. And thankful that we're all still alive. Those that are viewing the show, and also everyone that's tuned in to the prior shows. And my condolences to anybody that lost any loved ones during the pandemic. I know this was a tough time, and but I'm grateful that we kind of seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. Although there's still some other things, we're still in the pandemic. Like I don't feel like we're all the way free now. So let's still mask up and do what we got to do, to keep things safe. But yeah, so just to go with the topic, just want to talk about how do we navigate now that things are opening up. Now for myself, I would say I never stopped working, even during the pandemic. I still worked. I had a lot of session work, and people would send me tracks, and I would record, and send them the stems back. And but yeah, so now that things are opening back up, I feel like everybody's releasing their music. Venues are opening back up now, so it's like, man, I'm not in a rush to get back to it, but it seems like the world is in a rush. So I'm just kind of going with the flow. I'm not complaining, because it could be the opposite. But I would say, now still be careful. Still be careful. Although venues are opening back up, it's cool. You can, I would say, if you have not been able to gig, now might be a time. If you find a club that you used to go to that may have had open jam, maybe go and show your face, let people know that you're out and about and you're around, so people can start booking you again. Because it's not easy, trying to see who's, I guess being vaccinated or whatever people are doing to go, to maintain their health during this time. You don't know who's comfortable with going out yet. So, showing face is a good sign that, at least, you're in a good place, that you can accept gigs. And that's my recommendation. If you can, if there's jam sessions that you would attend before the pandemic, I would say try to make your attendance so people can see that you're around. Also, if you have a phone, go through your contacts and reach out to some of your employers, people that may have hired you for sessions or shows. Let people know, okay, things opening back up, I'm available. Hire me if you need some drum work for the studio or for for shows. It's all kind of ways to get back into the market. But also, like I said, it's safety's first. Be safe. Still do what you got to do to take the precautions that's needed, because there's still some things still lingering, and there's another virus out there as well that we're facing. So hopefully it doesn't get as bad as the COVID, but it's still a thing out there. So just make sure, I just stress that, please be safe and be aware of your environment. Another thing you can do too is just try to make sure you prepared. When somebody's caught, it's gonna hire you, make sure that you get the music that you need, and try to learn the music before the rehearsal. Also, if you don't get a chance to rehearse, try to learn it before you get to the show. That way you're not flopping, because you only got that one chance, and there's so many people out there, that want to play drums or that want to play bass or whatever instrument that's out there. People is available, and they're going to be prepared. So just make sure that you go, so you won't lose the opportunity. So just a couple of things that you can do. I'm glad that things are opening back up. And without any further ado, I want to talk about the first guest that I'm bringing on. I call him Uncle. Uncle Doug 𝗚𝗓𝗡. Do your Googles, and he's been around. Like, he's played with a lot of legendary people. And actually, by me growing up in the hip hop world, I remember, and this wasn't until later I found out that he was a part of Sugarhill gang. Doug 𝗚𝗓𝗡. He was like the legendary Sugarhill gang. They had a lot of hits. They were like the founders of the hip hop culture. And Doug was, those bass lines, that was Doug. You know what I'm saying? And he's done a lot of things, and I'm going to let him share some of his history. But yeah, so I remember meeting Doug in 2013. There's a company called Mono Creators. Now they're called, they were called Mono Case back then when they first came out. Now they're called Mono Creators, because they want to be, I guess, known more as a lifestyle versus just being limited to being to having bags. So anyway, to make a long story short, 2013, I remember a good friend of mine, Tom, he was one of the reps for Mono, and they were, you know, doing these in reality live like shoots where they would pair people up for the first time. They would catch it on film. So I remember, and shout out to Daniel Kushner. He was like the original guy that started Mono Creators. Yeah, and he introduced me to one of his other coworkers named Tom. And Tom, you know, he called me and said that they originally had Doug paired up with another drummer. I'm not gonna mention his name, but for whatever reason, I guess it was meant for it to work out with me coming in. And I'm thankful that it happened the way that it did. So I got the call, and Tom was like, "Yeah, we want to film you, you know, coming right out of the car or off the airplane right to the Mono Creators headquarters in San Francisco. They got it all on tape, and basically, literally, it's all caught on film. Like you can go on YouTube, and everything y'all see it wasn't staged. It was like this is pretty much how it happened, how it played out. So anyway, as soon as I got out of the car, they had the people with the cameras. I walked in. I had a group that I was playing with at the time, and I brought them out too as well, so we all can get some promo. And the first part of that session I did with that group that I was a part of at the time, and then Uncle Doug, you know, he was a part of it too. So I never forget. Me and Doug, we gave each other a pound, we gave each other a hug, and we greeted. And in a matter of seconds, we started playing, and we just caught a vibe. We caught a vibe, and the energy felt right. And I'll never forget after that shoot, Doug, you know, he was like, "Man, I like what you do," you know, and we just felt like we've been knowing each other for a long time. It was like, let's exchange information, and we kept in touch. And I remember, I was living in New York at the time. Doug called me. He told me about these events called the 𝗚𝗓𝗡, which is his last name, but I think he took the I out and put an A, so it's like a bash, like a festival. And he told me about these basically all-star bands he would put together, and they would cover a bunch of cover music. But it was like a lot of legendary artists or musicians on the bandstand. And he asked if I could be a part of one of the 𝗚𝗓𝗡s. And then post that, he was like, "Man, you should come down, you know, to Connecticut, and we should just record." And it's just a short story. It's a long story, but I'm trying to shorten it down so we can bring Doug on. I'll never forget. I took the train from New York to Connecticut, and I was actually on tour with Jack White at the time, and I think the day before was the last day from the run. So I had just got home, and Doug just had, because I think Doug was out with Living Color. They was on tour as well, and we had a limited time to connect. And it just worked out where that following day I was available. Doug was like, "Yo, come up." So I got a train, and I was so tired because I had just the night before, I fell asleep and I missed my stop. It was hilarious because I was going to the next city. I'll never forget when I woke up, I was like, I had that feeling like something don't feel right here. And it wasn't right. I was going to the next city. But anyway, I made it to Doug, you know, he got me back on the right track, Doug and his manager, Diane. They got me back on the right track. Doug picked me up. We went to his home studio. He wired everything up. And actually, the drum set that he had, it was one of Will's old drum kits. He had it there, and I put it in my fashion with the angles, and Doug, he wired everything up. And we only had like a couple hours because of the train going back to New York. It left at a certain time, and we had to like do all this in a short amount of time. So anyway, after Doug wired everything up, we recorded for like an hour, I think a little over an hour. And at the end of the session, Doug put everything on CD and gave me like they were the 2 tracks of what we recorded. And so that's a part. I'm going to end the story right there because I'm going to let Doug. We're going to talk about how we actually ended up forming a band called DMD the Vibes. And the DMD are initials. The first D is myself. The second initial is M for Marcus Machadas, guitarist from New York, and the last D is Doug. So without any further ado, let's bring on our first guest, the one and only Doug 𝗚𝗓𝗧.
D Money, what's happening, my brother?
I'm good, Unc. Thank you so much for being here.
Man, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's just a pleasure to hear you break everything down the way you do. Gold star on the forehead, my brother.
I appreciate it. So, just to coincide with the topic, this is perfect timing because I heard you guys tour.
Oh, say it again.
No, I said this is. I was just talking about the topic that we have today, and I said I heard Living Color was on tour right now. Is that true?
That's true. Will Calhoun, Corey Glover, Vernon Reed. We've been out on tour since July 1st. We're part of a package called Summerland tour, and that's the guitar player from Everclear. He put this tour together, this concept together a few years back, and he's toured it with different bands. This year, it's with 𝗚𝗓𝗓, 𝗚𝗓𝗓𝗓, and Living Color and Everclear. That started on July 1st in Boston, Will's old stomping grounds. We did a couple of days of pre-production rehearsal there, which was great. And dude, man, nephew, it was like, all right, off to Mars. So it's just like, you know, we started to venture off into these United States of America, and we've been traveling around this country now for over almost going to be a month come the end of next Monday. Well, we commence this Saturday, actually. So we've been on the grind, people. We've been out here in real time in this land. We've gone from Boston through to Connecticut to New York, Pennsylvania. Then we head down south to Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Georgia. We've been on the grind, and we've had the opportunity to actually see how things are unfolding in real time. Good thing is we're with a good group of folks, and that's the beauty, and that's, I'm thankful about that.
Yes, yes. Wow, I'm so glad that you guys are back out. It's giving us some hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And just before we get too far ahead, and I just want to say I'm very thankful for Doug and Will, because they actually in between sound check. So they made time for us today. I'm so thankful, because I know they didn't have to do that. And I know how intense it can be when you're on the road. You only have a certain amount of time to shower, change, and just get your own mental health together. So I'm very grateful for them taking our time with us today. And but before, just real short, because I don't want to keep you too long. Can you just give us a short story of your background, how you got started, and then we'll talk about the topic, and then we'll bring our brother conversation going.
Yeah, let me see how I can break this down. You know, okay, the starting point for me came in the early 70s. I met a brother named Skip McDonald out of Dayton, Ohio, at Jackie McLean's Artist Collective in Hartford, Connecticut. We formed a band called 𝗚𝗓𝗓𝗚 𝗓𝗓𝗡. We went to the label that put that album out was All Platinum Records. The owners of that label were Joe and Sylvia Robinson. We did recordings for not just 𝗚𝗓𝗓𝗚, but for other artists at their All Platinum Records label. Some for Sylvia, who was an artist, The Moments, Jack McDuff, Chuck Jackson, Etta James. Some of they owned the chess catalog at that time. So Rhythm Section was able to do some more events while we were at All Platinum Studios. Fast forward, 1974 to 79 was All Platinum. 1979 was the birth of Rapper's Delight at Sugarhill Records. All Platinum Records merged into Sugarhill Records. Kind of, you know, they created another label, and Skip McDonald, and we brought Keith LeBlanc into the fold. Were asked to come and be a part of recording some of the new artists that were there, and those artists were starting off with the Sugarhill Gang. We did their first album, then that followed up with Spoonie G. Then the Sequence, we cut Funk You Up. I'll back it up with the Sugarhill Gang. We didn't do Rapper's Delight as his rhythm section, but we did Apache, Eighth Wonder, all the classic hits there. Then Grandmaster Flash, we did Freedom, The Message, White Lines, all those records. The Funky 4+1, that's the joint. So you get an idea. The Mean Machine, the Crash Crew, all the Sugarhill artists, we were the rhythm section behind that. Also with other great musicians there, the late, great Ed Fletcher, who wrote The Message, and the late, great Dwayne Mitchell, who was a killer keyboard player. Reggie Griffin, his uncle is Clifford Brown, great trumpet player. So there was Jigs Chase, an arranger, the Chops the Horn section. So we had a great group of musicians, and we were working with some great artists, but also we were helping to translate the art of hip hop of a rapper trying to explain to musicians what they were hearing. and we would translate that because they were used to hearing stuff from just a turntable. So we had to figure things out. So we did that. That was my run. Fast forward from there, I went on to work with Arthur Baker and did one of the iconic records that I did was the Sun City record, where there were over 50 different artists on that particular recording. And that led me to working with Jeff Beck, with Simon Phillips and Jan Hammer. You know, and then that led to me meeting Mick Jagger. And then I did an audition, got the gig with Mick, and I spent 3 years with Mick Jagger. And then next thing you know, boom, I'm working with Tommy Boy Records. I did the Force MDs records and Africa Bambaataa. I worked with my third cousin, James Brown. We wrote a song called Unity. Then that introduced me to my friend Adrian Sherwood in the UK. Went over there, started a record label called World Records with Keith and Skip. And we created a group called TackHead. And did so many different things. Also was able to work with Depeche Mode over there, Annie Lennox, Seal. And then on the flip side, I had friends over back in America. I was able to work with my friend Andre Betts and work on Madonna's records and stuff. So, and it just, you know, that's the journey. But the real kicker came in when I got a call from Will Calhoun when I was I was at a studio with the Stones. And Will calls me. He's like, "Hey, man, we're thinking about doing a bass change. Would you like to come and audition?" I said, "Sure." So, you know, all of these things happen in real time, and I'm just thankful that by the Creator and all good people, those I call elders that really help pave the road for me. I'm not the architect. I'm the recipient. I was fortunate to be around good people to give me good advice and keep me in check. You know, and that's how you learn.
Wow, my head is cracked, Unc.
That's the short story. See, I can't really, I don't know where to go because it's just, you know, that's kind of like the reality. But my wife Diane is gonna be dropping a new. We're going to be having a new website that's going to drop, and I think good people, when you go there, you'll be able to see the different layers of some of the folks that I work with, whether it's KMFDM. I just did a song for this one artist. I can't say her name right now until it drops, but let's just say she's got over 6 billion streams, and I wasn't even aware who she was at first until I got the call. So that's how. But anyway, you don't want to know.
People, not to cut you off, I always tell people you the past, present, the future, because like your sound, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but man, it's just like you're still, you know, like what you do, it still works. It ain't never been broke. So I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to work with you and have our brotherhood during this time. And man, all those names you named, like, I mean, Rappers of the Light, that's one of the biggest hip hop records. That's like the foundation of hip hop. The Message, all those records. So it's just we have royalty in here today. Royalty.
Thank you, brother. Thanks, Sylvia Robinson. Look, people, let me just chime in. It was a woman, Sylvia Robinson, that was able to put hip hop on the map. So every time you look at yourself in the mirror, you got that Kangol on, that hat on sideways, and you're looking at what's going on. Think of her. And she was from Sugarhill. She was from Harlem, and she understood what was going on. Thanks to her, I'm here because she helped bust me out. Thank you.
Wow. Well, Uncle Doug, you spoke about our brother that we're going to have come on, and for the first time, this is the first time we're going to be able to have everybody on at one time. So I'm excited to see how this is going to work out. But yeah, I want to speak about our next guest, and shout out to Doug 𝗚𝗓𝗧, and do your Googles. Like, he's probably on a lot of records, some of your favorite records. That's you hearing Uncle Doug's bass line. You know what I'm saying? And so thankful to have him on here. Our next brother that's a part of Living Color, 𝗚𝗘𝗧 I've actually got exposed to him through the 𝗪𝗟𝗡 Memorial Series, and that was like my introduction. Because I grew up Pentecostal, I grew up, you know, Christian. Was told not to listen to anything outside of gospel with secular, and we were told we couldn't listen to. But anyway, I snuck because I'm a kid. I started to find out about other genres. But to fast forward, I remember one of my older mentors put me on to like the 𝗪𝗟𝗡 Memorial Series. They had four concerts, and I can't remember which one Will was on, but I was just like, man, I was just blown away. by Will's pocket and his diversity. He's a genre bending drummer. That's what I want to achieve as a drummer, not only to be known as a gospel drummer. I want to be able to move around in different genres, and I consider Will and especially being a rock and roll drummer too, because at that time it was scarce. Being black, he was like one of the first black rock drummers that I saw, and it was of course there was more. That Hendrix had, different people they had, but as far as like in my generation, Will was one of the first people that I saw. He was funky, and just his setup, all the different sounds that he got from the drums, it made an impression on me. So all those guys, I went and tried to do things like they did. I wanted to have, sit like how they sat. So, as a youth, Will was definitely a part of my DNA. And without any further ado, let's bring him on. Will.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Great, man. Great to be here. Doing great, man. It's a pleasure that you have this platform, and it's great to be on here with my soul brother, the bass extraordinaire, Mr. 𝗪𝗓𝗓 and Jules. Thanks for hooking up the technology and getting us organized. So it's great to be here, man. And I appreciate the introduction, but brother, you are continuing the path by pushing the edge of percussion and drums and concepts and sounds. And I do want one of those snare muffs. I'm gonna say right now, I would like you to send me one of those fat. I don't have a fat boy snare. My snare. My snare. I don't have a fat boy snare. I got a towel on mine, so I'll take one of your fat boy snare muffs. But we'll talk about that later, man. Congratulations on everything, Daru.
I appreciate it, Will. I'm so grateful to have you on here. Also, Will just had a birthday, so we want to wish him many more blessings, many more years for what he do. He's one of the best that ever done it. Talk about somebody experimenting with sounds. He was one of the first people that I heard get the different, stacking stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like very innovative. And yeah, so glad that Will had another birthday. And before we jump on the topic, can you just give us a short little story of like some of your beginnings? Then we're gonna go. Because I know y'all got a show tonight, which I'm looking forward to seeing y'all when y'all come to the Nashville area. But just give a little bit of your starts. Yep.
Sure. Very briefly, man. I'm from God's country, the Bronx, New York. Very proud to be from there. I still live there. I was really fortunate. I grew up in a fantastic neighborhood. Steve Jordan lived around the corner. Raymond Chu lived just across from my house. There were a lot of great musicians. There were two camps of hip hop at the time. Doug Wimbish and those guys were out doing the stuff at Sugarhill. And then there was Enjoy record label, which was a great drummer named Pumpkin. His nickname, Pumpkin Bedwood. So I used to go to Pumpkin's house. His younger brother and I are best friends to this day. So I got to see Pumpkin's genius of playing bass like Jocko and playing Rachmaninoff on piano and then killing the drums. But also he got my head into programming. A lot of the beats people didn't know at the time because there wasn't an industry for what Doug and Pumpkin were doing. They were building an industry, but Pumpkin was making beats and selling them to labels in like the 70s, mid 70s. So when I heard Sucker MCs and all these other kind of tracks and different beats, I was, this cat was just ahead, and he was a great musician, but he said, Calhoun, you got to think outside of the box, and you have to start thinking about sound and not the instrument as just this one piece. And so I have to say, my older brother was a prodigy, Charles Calhoun, he played. So growing up, not wanting to be a drummer at that time, our house was the SIR in the neighborhood. My mom opened up the basement to everybody's gear was our house, PA system, guitars. My brother played organ, trio, salsa bands, Cuban bands, Haitian bands. So in the beginning, Daru, I was fortunate to leave, the upstairs part of my mom's house and go down in the basement and watch my brother or anyone else play. And that gave me the open palette to listen to different things, audition different things, listening to the Haitian guys, the Cuban guys, the Puerto Rican cats, soul brothers, blues cats, straight ahead jazz cats. They were all coming through my mom's basement. So between the neighbors and the basement, it was the best launching pad for me to do what I'm doing now.
Wow. My head is cracked too. And that makes sense because of your style. It's like I said, you're a genre bending drummer, but I can hear all those like African tones. Like that's what I admire about the drummers that came up at that time. Like you guys, and I know a lot of some cats went to Berkeley, but they like y'all couldn't just play one style. You know what I'm saying? You had to move around. You had to move around, and I just think that I'm glad I saw that. And it made me want to widen my horizons and not just think about gospel drumming. And I really admire how I feel like you got your own sound, and I feel like you took out the time to go in and figure out like what's Will thinking. And I remember hearing you guys like performing for 2 hours at a high volume. You know what I'm saying? I know that it's not easy. And both of y'all still look forever 21. I don't know how y'all do it. But I just want to give y'all kudos for what y'all have done for the industry.
Thank you.
Yeah, so many layers. But like I said, I don't want to keep you guys because I know y'all on a tight schedule. I thanks for sharing that backstory. And do we want to answer any questions right now before we get into the topic?
Sure, man. I'd love to. Whatever you want to. We still got some time. Okay. Whatever you guys whatever you want to arrange out there, it's not a problem. And I want to just say one thing about the whole African piece, Daru, too. I lived in certain parts of West Africa and North Africa for short periods of time because I want to get the information, from the master. So I lived in Mali, in Senegal. I'll send some things to your posts for some people to look up. There is to me the most extraordinary hand percussion genius drummer of all time would be 𝗐𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗘𝗗 out of Senegal, and he has a drum orchestra. And he's something that no matter what instrument you play, he passed away. You have to see what this man is doing. You can find him on YouTube, but you have to hear these recordings. Max Roach told me that is the most important classical kind of African percussion genius of all time. So that's why I had to look him up. So I went to Senegal to study with him, but I'll send you some links. I just think it's important, and I want to share this with your audience. What I learned from all of those masters that I've been studying with, and it's not over yet, is for me to become connected to sound and not the instrument. I told Doug a story once. I was with this Indian master, which, the first 5 months we didn't even play. We would just talk. We would walk. He would do exercises like walk backwards, to get your mind set on not doing things the same. But then one time he took me to a brook, and then we were just standing in front of it. And I'm thinking, okay, what kind of lesson am I going to get today? And he would say, that's a loop. You hear the water hitting the rocks, hitting the thing, hitting it. Listen to that. That's a loop. That's a loop. That's nature's loop. And those are the things he was trying to get me to adapt to my soloing and my playing. He's a dear friend to this day, but he was a guy that started out. My first couple of lessons for the first almost 5 months was very little drumming. It was getting my head tuned into nature, into sounds. And in my studying on the continent, they told me to not get caught up in 3-2 clave, 2-3 clave. Even I went to 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗄's house, fortunately, and 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓 told me, that there's a lot of religious things that get behind these, but he said that's not what music is. It's folklore. It's expression. It's happy weddings and birth celebrations, and your parents coming back to the village, these kind of things. That's what it's based on. So keep that in mind when you're playing your music, and don't get so caught up into the what he called the martial arts of percussion. You're not going in there to chop somebody up. You know what I mean? You're sharing information, and you're taking legacy, very, very old, thousands and thousands of year old rhythms, and you're playing for people. So it's like church. You talked about church. It's like church. It's going to saying a sermon or singing a hymn together with the whole church. Same concept.
Man, thanks so much for sharing that, Will. And that just reminds me of you and Doug. You guys are really musical when y'all play, and even playing solos, it's like a story. It's like a whole build-up, and that's what I admire about your playing. You don't even have to have any other instrumentation behind you. You like your own voice without a piano, and same thing with Doug. When he's doing a solo, he has so many atmospheric sounds. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all tell stories, and that's very important. Yeah. I like how you also, it's like you have your, like telling a story. You have your beginning, your middle, and your end. Dynamics, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that I learned by watching y'all. Is not just saying, okay, everything got to be played at 10 dB. No, you got to have some dynamics. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that I encourage, the community to learn how to, to bring the dynamics in your playing. And kudos. I'm glad, that you was able to get those experience, and it shows. And let's get right into the topic. So Jules, can you put a topic
Sure.
on the screen? So how
It's
do I?
post-pandemic? Okay.
Yep. Doug, anyone who
Well,
want to?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Will.
How do I navigate it? You said some really great things up top. You have to navigate it intelligently. If I could just use a one-word answer, you mentioned some great things, Daru, about your contacts and being safe and being healthy. The industry, really, what a lot of times artists we forget is we're the content. So whatever's going on out there in the world, pandemics, union rules, cancel flights, whatever's going on in the industry, clubs closing down, we are still the content. The genre doesn't exist without us. So we have to also be able to understand our power when you have it and how to use it. So you get together with the people that make you feel the most powerful, you can get the most vibe out of, and you get together, first of all, you put a little bit of a concept together and you begin to work. You have to bounce things off of people. You got to bounce ideas off of people, whether it's a lawyer, promoter, a company owner from a drum company. I called everybody, Daru. I asked DW, what's going on? How's the sale? I asked my friends I worked at Full Sail, or my friends that worked at Sam Ash, my friends that worked at the Guitar Center. I wanted to know because some companies, as we know in our industry, had closed. They had to close distribution channels. So that changes the whole dynamic. So get as much information as you can before making your decision. Navigation requires information. You got to have the information first. When you have the information, then I think you can navigate what's best for you. What's be best for Doug may not be best for you or myself. But we have to get the information to make an intelligent decision. So all I would say with navigating is get as much information from your colleagues, from your manager, from your agents, from your lawyer. You have your own already here. Then once you have it, you can put that together and then say, okay, first thing I want to do, I want to play Smitty's Bar and Grill. I want to start down the block and just get my friends to come see me first. Let me do that a couple of times. Or maybe the first thing is Carnegie Hall. Maybe the first thing is a European tour. I don't know. But for each individual on this call, get your information and then make an intelligent decision. And just like you talked about building a story, Daru, with the solos, do the same with your career. What do you want to do next? If you said that story already, do you want to say it again? Or do you want to say something else? Or is there, now what's the next step towards your introduction to what you did 10 years ago? What do you want to do now? What do you want to do pre-pandemic? There's a lot of things we didn't like about this industry. Are we going to go back to those things we didn't like?
Right.
Are we going to do more of the things we do like? And that's something that I think your audience could do.
Yo, that was some very good information, Will. I like everything you said. And, and it's like, I feel like the pandemic, we were made to sit down. So I feel like some of us that are always on tour, we're always moving around, we kind of had a chance to, you know what I'm saying, take some time to go within ourselves to figure out how we can be better people. You know what I'm saying? Because it starts there. It starts there. And, you know, some things were shine, some of the light was shined on, like, you know, we had the Black Lives Matter, you know, some things that needed some light shine on it, and we needed that to happen. So now it's like, okay, things are opening back up. Let's be wise, let's be smart, and let's, like you said, tell a different story. I think Jules had a question. You want to put that? Can y'all see that question? What are tour managers and venues doing to help you feel safe?
That's a great question. I'm gonna let Doug hit that one. That's a fantastic question, Jules. Great.
Well, okay. First and foremost, it's like you can't leave it up to a tour manager or anybody to try to make sure that you're going to be safe. You got to start with you. You know what I mean? And the main thing is it's got to be teamwork. You have to ask those questions and get clarity. You know, the bottom line is the pandemic is still here. We're out and we're like an experiment. We're put out here. We're like the first kind of like, you know, tour to be out touring right now. So we're an experiment. Before we went, I was thorough about getting clarity in regards to what's going on. How are we going to tour? Are the venues safe? How is it structured? Are we going to be masked up? we're going to different states that have different regulations of what's going on. So we went into the lion's mouth in a lot of these places. Some of these states never really closed. They were just like, you know what, screw it. We just want to stay open and may God have mercy on your soul. And it didn't play out right for everybody. So I just wanted I wanted us, it's a we thing, not a me thing, us to have all the information and all the clarity that we can get and for us to be able to ask those questions collectively. So, because you can't depend on anybody. There's no tour manager or no club or whatever. You get, you know, you go to a venue and even though you ask, the same things aren't done. It's like, you know, so you got to remember this. Things have been staying idle for a while. So, for example, there's a lot of things that goes into touring. You need to have a vehicle. You have to have a strategy, a plan, crew, and everything. What's happened to us? Okay, check this out. Here we are now getting a tour bus. Those tour buses that we've had, one of the buses that we've had has been idle since last March. You know, so they haven't functioned. You know, they've been sitting around. Now we notice there's things that are malfunctioning in the middle of the tour. So you try to find ways how to, get the information. But look, we came into the cone of uncertainty. No matter how much information you ask for, you still got to get out here and you realize that's not working. There's no showers here. Oh yeah, you're gonna have food. There's no food, blah, blah, blah. So at the end of the day, that's the reality. No matter, people say, come on, go out, start doing the gigs. I'm like, no, we need to have some clarity because we want to be able to go home to our families in one piece, as opposed to coming out here and just taking a joyride and acting like nothing's going on. No, we're in a pandemic. Pandemic's not gone. Pandemic is here. And actually and we're seeing it firsthand, Will Calhoun and I. We're in the lion's mouth right now in some of these states. So tour managers we're fortunate. We have a great tour manager. He listens. You know, that's the key. We have a great crew that he's put together. They listen. We respect each other. We are all one group. We want to make sure we all get home in one piece to our families, because from the time you leave, you prepare before you leave your house. You're already on tour days before preparing, and then you got to go out and hit it. And then when you go back home, you got to go into the next phase of just getting yourself back into the groove. So look, but the good thing is this. Fortunately, Living Color, we're a band that's been around for a while, and we've been through some battles. I mean, we found ways how to tend that lion that's got his mouth open, hungry, and we deal with it. So fortunately for Will Calhoun, Corey Glover, and Vernon Reid, we have found a way to contain ourselves. It's very challenging times, and it's easy to freak out and complain about certain things not being the way you want to be. But the other side of the coin is we're on a great tour with good people. And honestly, I didn't want to, I'll be honest, man, I was like going out for a month. I didn't want to go out for a month. I'll go out for a weekend warrior stuff. And we'll tell you, this tour was booked and it was like, there's a freaking pandemic going on. What's going on?
Y'all went hard body. Y'all went all the way in. No warm up.
Man, it's like, get your ass out there. Man. So Will and I were very clear in like asking questions, trying to get all the information. What's the guarantees? How do you find ways to know what's going on? And look, man, things change. You can see, we're out here and we can see, oh no, some of these cities are padlocked up. They got hit hard. Some of these clubs are hanging in there by a thread, and when you see that and you talk to some of the club owners and they're like, look, I lost my staff. I had to put money together just to stay together. We're in one club and there's freaking the roof is leaking. And, they're hurting. It's not just us. We're all part of the system. So what we need to, like Will said, is just we all need to be mindful of what's really going on. And it starts with having enough patience to take the time to ask those questions before and after. Because I tell you what, man, ain't nothing worse than going someplace and you're like, well, how did that happen? Well, it happened because you didn't think about it before. So if Will Calhoun and I sit down and we map stuff out before this tour, and we got on the phone, let's cut the chase, and we asked the questions, and you know what? We're still waiting to get some of the answers. But I'll let Will Calhoun get it, because something I got is Will Calhoun. So last thing you don't want, Will Calhoun will write. He knows that's my partner. So if you have good partners, you get things done.
Yo, shout out to Vernon, Reed, and Corey. That's so dope, man, that Will is so proactive as a drummer. You know what I'm saying? We run this.
Come on, man. You know what it is? It's teamwork. Bass players and drummers.
It's teamwork. It's teamwork, man. It's
teamwork.
Yeah.
They try to put us in the back, Will. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Daru, man, look, man. We know with our gig, man, you drive the bus from the back seat. Yes, and the only ally you have in the whole band or orchestra is the bass player. After the bass player, it's a wrap. As long as you're making everybody feel good and happy and they looking at you, you're doing your job. But once in a while, Daru, you gotta put that 3/4 fill over the 7/9.5 beat to make sure they turn around, just to remind them that I am back here working. I know y'all are looking at women and wiggling and spitting water out the monitor and wiggling and waving that guitar all over the place. That's fantastic. But I'm not just back here making cupcakes, my friend. I am helping. I'm helping your ass out. So once in a while, Daru, you gotta do the coordinate triplet, man, with the bass drum and the hi-hat to make sure the guitar player is paying close attention to the time. Yes, I said it. Sorry. Doug just started laughing, but he knows why I do it. But anyway.
You did it today at sound check. Yes,
I did. Because Daru, man, sometimes Daru, they take us, they just feel like the bread or the sandwich. It's like, yeah, we're not, we're appetizers to the patterns, to the music.
Hey, like everybody else,
drumming. I call drumming, Daru, single mom behavior. That's what I call drumming. It's a single mom. You gotta raise the kids. You gotta cook the food, do the laundry. You gotta cut the grass, talk on the phone. It's a single. We should. The drumming is the thing. If you've never been a single mom and you're a drummer, welcome. This is the first course you can take. Getting on stage with 4 or 5 people, making everybody happy, and they don't give a damn about how you feel at the moment. But you got to make everybody happy, and everybody smiling and teeth are shining, and you got to sit back there. And you're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yo, everybody else get we get the fish sandwich, we get the chicken dinner. It's like,
it's all, man. That's why I'm glad, I went to get Doug. He'll tell you. I flew to London and was trying to get a new bass player for the band. I knew exactly. I knew what I needed to do to make this job, work. And I just they would have bass auditions. It was bad. I said, I'm gonna go to London, and if Doug can't do it, then we'll start from there. But I wanted to go get him because I knew what kind of team, you know what I mean? It's like anything else. Lakers or the Celtics or the Bulls or Milwaukee just won. You gotta have the concept together to efficiently get the job done with the least amount of stress as possible. And by the way, it's nice too if you can have fun. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, if you can have fun, it makes so. I mean, we all four know each other in and out of this band really well, so we know how to push each other's buttons, which is good actually. It creates success. But the bass and the drums, I mean, you have to. That's the transmission of the band. Yes. And I know we're in the back of the stage. I talked to Elvin Jones about it. Elvin said, "That's why in my ensemble, the drums are in the front."
It's true.
Elvin doesn't like to mic his drums. He hates miking his kit. But he said, I put the drums in the front. That's in the front of the stage. And that's what you're going to say to Master Elvin about that. So
Facts. Yo, I'm glad you pointed on that. Working with Jack White has been great because you know, he started with the White Stripes. It was just him and Meg. So they both was out front. So when I joined, you know, started working with Jack, he was like, I want you front and center because I play to the drummer. It's like everything that I'm doing is the drummer is like, that's what I'm getting inspired by. So I just took that concept and brought it on. Anytime I got called on to be the MD or music director, drums are in the front. And also, you know, it's not for like a Hollywood chase, but it's easier for me to direct the band while I'm in front. If I'm in the back, it's hard for me to give signals unless I'm do the Questlove, you know, where you have the microphone, everybody can hear. But for me, that's why I decided to kind of be out front. But yeah, all those pointers you made, Will and Doug, were like Doug say, spot on, and man, a lot of good information.
It's funny you should mention that because when I first met you know, 𝗚𝗧 𝗜𝗏 and Jack DeJohnette, all of these great musicians, I would ask, why did Miles turn his back on the musicians? And they all told me the same answer because I purposely asked a couple of different musicians, and they said Miles was trying to hear the band. Everybody thought he was dissing the audience. He turned around because he wanted to hear the band facing the front of the band, not hear the band behind him. And if you notice, he did it for a little bit of a song, then he would turn around and go do what he had to do. But the purpose was to hear the band. And that was the vibe that people didn't understand. As a band leader, he was just trying to hear everybody as an ensemble, then turn around and do whatever you have to do. So you make a great point there.
Wow. It's a lot of information. Every people that are tuning in, y'all getting a treat. Y'all getting a lot of cheat codes. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days, it was no YouTube. It wasn't this. You have to figure it out. So we got like, we're getting some good information by qualified people that's been doing this for a while. And I'm thankful. I'm honored. And I think, Jules, did you have another question you want to tack on to that, to what Doug was saying? Can y'all see that?
Is it possible to tour if you are vaccine hesitant? If it is too political, don't answer it. Thanks. Silence.
Well, look. It is possible. You have to be. It is possible. You have to be really. No matter what. Obviously, I have friends that are doctors, and they've been vaccinated, and they've caught COVID twice. They work in hospitals. So people have to understand. You got to get that information. The vaccine doesn't make you safe. People try to say it's like polio. It's not like the polio vaccine. You got the polio vaccine. You didn't catch polio. You can still get COVID. So you have to be safe. You got to protect yourself. You got to get tested. And when you travel around, I don't know what the politics are between bands and venues. As Doug said, the information out front. Some people may not be okay with that. Some may be, but it is possible. I just said, like we talked about earlier, get as much information as you can and go out there. Respect yourself first and respect others. Have respect for other people, whether they feel inhibited about things or not. Because we're in a heartland, like Doug said, some people are like, whatever. And they'll bum rush you when you get off the stage with no mask on. And vaccines don't 100% protect you from getting COVID. I have people that have gotten it more than once. So it is possible, but you really got to lay the groundwork and protect yourself and do whatever you do to make you comfortable. I know there's issues with people, religious issues, people who have allergies, certain kind of allergies where the vaccine throws off the allergy or makes some other, there's issues out there, not just people don't want to take it. So
you lose Will?
Yeah, we lost you, Will. We lost you, Will.
We can't hear Mr. Calhoun.
Somebody's probably trying to call him. Yeah, so Will said a lot of great information. Definitely, you know what I'm saying, do what you got to do to be safe. And I'm with Doug, silence, because everybody had their own theories, and it's like if you say something, you're going to get criticized if you don't. So I just say it's just a self-examination. We some people have underlying conditions. Get tested, do what you got to do for your situation. It's an individual situation, but But yeah, I hear music in the background, so I know that it sounds like doors may be opening really soon for the venue. But I'm just thankful to have both of our guests to close out this series, and it's beautiful. Did you guys want to add anything else before we close out?
Hey man, Daru, all I want to add is the fact that Will's on mute.
He's on mute.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll chime
No.
in.
I'm sorry. I just muted out of respect for the background noise. That's all, because I'm in the office and the band is just doing a little bit of checking. So I'll pop on when Doug's done. But I just want to mute the sound.
Gotcha.
I if it's anything I want to chime in on, is like, look, good people out there. We're musicians. We're the ones that come out here and spread that love. We want to give you all the love we got by sharing our art with you. And at the same time, we're living in some very, we're in the cone of uncertainty. There's a way, and that's just the reality of where we are right now. I'm thankful I'm out here, but I'm also very cautious. I also have been doing what I can to make sure that no matter how I feel about anything, that I'm taking every possible precaution so that whatever, even though I'm vaccinated, that I'm not going to be able to go and find myself in a situation where I'm going to be compromised or I might come off these roads traveling around these United States of America and give something to somebody else. Bottom line is, think, be smart, be safe, have fun, but also make sure that you love your family as much as they love you, because you're out here, and until you get back home, you care about your family and they care about you. And that comes with the gig. So there's a huge responsibility we have as human beings right now. But, at the end of the day, things are opening up, pandemic's still here. Please be safe. And also check on those folks that you haven't heard from. You know what I mean? Put your instrument down for a minute and give some people a call. Check on folks. Show your heart. That's really what it's all about. And when you get home, buy one of your friends a fish sandwich. The end.
Yeah, well said, Uncle Doug. You're right. Check on your people and your friends. I like everything that you provided, and I'm really thankful for you and Will. Will, do you want to add anything before we close out? Will, you want to add anything?
Just a thanks to you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Am I there? Okay, yeah. So basically, thanks for this opportunity and for this platform you've done over the period of weeks to get information to people. During the pandemic, I think it's important that we're able to have access to information. So thank you for having the platform and giving Doug and I an opportunity to come on and reach your lovely presentation stage. And God will keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, brother.
Creating products, you're doing your thing, and you got to keep doing what you're doing. And always great to see you. When I do see you, man, it's always good to kick it a little bit. And all three of us on this call have a very serious and important job to do for humanity. We must continue to do it with the right thought process and right intent. And I just want to say thanks for that.
Wow, well said, Will. I like everything you said, and that those last words. I'm glad I connected with y'all. It's a spiritual thing. I feel like the Creator connected us all together for a reason. And I'm just a vessel. I feel like we all here on this call, we're all vessels. And I believe that's why we get in certain positions and opportunities, to do things that's going to edify the community, also share and pass it down. And that's what I've always admired about Doug, because, you have the older G's, that get in positions. Do they want to hold it down? It's like, you gotta pass it down. So I admire that about Doug and yourself. You're forever 21, but I'm just thankful that you guys are not insecure where y'all can't pass it down and let somebody I see you. Come on, do your thing. So it's important, and I want to make sure I do the same thing. And it's inspiring. It's inspiring, and I want to thank you all again for what y'all contributed to the music industry, not just music wise, but your energy. It's always been good vibrations, and that's what we need. That's what we need. It's just it's not always about playing. It's about how you make people feel when you're on and off stage. I think that's very important. and it shows in your playing.
Yep.
And I believe that's why what you're doing is universal, and that's why y'all able to still tour. Y'all still got fans, and we're all still doing this. And I'm thankful for the brotherhood. I'm looking forward to one day maybe doing the thing, 2 drums with bass. Man, that just hit me. That would be crazy.
Yeah, man. Come on, let's go. That's what it's all about, man. Y'all are 2 of my favorite people on earth, and you just happen to play drums. You happen to be artists. You ain't just playing drums. You are artistes, you know, and you bring a spirit. Both of you bring something that is unique. And I'm not trying to tell you blue is green. I'm just telling you the truth, brothers. I love both of y'all. Thank you for the experience in this life to be able to know both of y'all. And as a bassist and fellow human being, it's always a pleasure playing with both of you brothers. And that, you already, come on, let's go. Let's make it happen. Let's go.
It ain't gonna be no TackHead. We got to figure out how we gonna do it. But all those, I'm just thinking about the sound effects because Will got his own thing. All the sounds, you know what I'm saying? And Doug got all the sounds ever too. And I'm still getting my
call it decal. Yeah, sonic decal. I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
Yo, we need to go to New Orleans. We need to go down to New Orleans at Jazz Fest and premiere and do something crazy. I know y'all busy, but I think we should figure that out sooner than later.
We'll make it happen, brother D. But yo, bro, what you're doing has been fantastic in these times. Giving up that information. I saw you had Rod on, and then have an old G like Omar on. Well done. Yeah. Gold star in the forehead with a bird's eye and 12 for a time, my brother. You bring it. And I love our conversations. I talk to you 2 brothers more than I talk to any daggone body because it comes from the heart. No, me and Will could be on the phone for hours, just like you, Daru. We talk honestly and real, and keep it real. As long as our hearts can pump Kool-Aid, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I'm grateful because I really had some career situations and I needed some advice. And when you went for musicians too, and I'm gonna say this to let y'all go. Sometimes you can't share your business with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because they may not give you the sound advice. You know, but I've had some really tough scenarios in my career, and I'm thankful that I had Doug around because he was able to give me some good advice that helped me along the way. And I'm sure Will would do the same thing. But I know a lot of times, you know, they walk the walk. You know what I'm saying? They talk the talk, that's rare. It's rare. So I'm thankful for these 2 brothers, and I just want to thank y'all. Wishing y'all a great show tonight. Hopefully y'all see y'all in Murfreesboro in Nashville. My guess list is probably going to be 20 deep. I'm going to see who I can bring out, but I'm looking forward to seeing y'all in person. And thank you again for your time. Wishing y'all a beautiful show, and God bless y'all. Have a great show, and I'll see y'all soon.
All right, D. Much love, brother. Peace.
Salute. Cool. So there you have it. This is the finale for the season. I want to thank my co-host 𝗚𝗘𝗧 for holding me down. He's done a great job and helping me, you know, prepare the topics, also do all the behind the scenes work. Also thankful for my guest today, the great Will Calhoun and Doug Wimbish. So much information, you know what I'm saying? And I'm always, you know, a lot of words of wisdom. So just listen to what they said, and hopefully we get back to it safely. Also want to shout out the venue that I'm at today, TM, you know what I'm saying, Tasha, and also Ben for holding me down, and also their team for making sure everything, what y'all hearing today, crispy, and they made things go really, really smooth. Also want to thank you guys for tuning in. I don't know what's going to happen after this. I don't know if we're going to bring the show back, but things opening up now. So be safe, do what you got to do. And I don't know, should I play a piece? Juice, should I play something? Okay, maybe I'll play something, but also want to give a shout out to the dancer we had earlier, Malik. I can't remember the brother's last name, but he's a part of a collective along with Tasha. They got a dance crew and they get busy. I'm going to put some more information so y'all can check out the facilities in Nashville. If you're looking for a spot, you know what I'm saying, to do some music videos, you can even roller skate in here. So I may do like a roller skate DJ drum thing here soon, but yep, I'll see you on information. But let me see what I can come up with. You can take the juice. Take the cameras off too.
Let's do your thing.